So the recession is going to be worse than analysts expect, and the bottom is going to be lower than analysts expect. It could go down, easily go down 30%. And it wouldn't shock me if it was down 50%. You're looking at, S&P, 2000, 2100, something like that. So China's in a deep hole, probably in a recession. Japan, same thing. So the global economy is in bad shape. It's going into a recession. Now, a lot of people have said that, we're going to have a recession as if it's no big deal, but they're expecting a mild recession. I see a much more severe recession based on a lot of factors, some of which we've spoken about. Now, the other half of your question, which is important to listeners, is what does this mean for financial markets? And there, so the Fed story kind of goes like this. The Fed, forecasting what the Fed's going to do is the easiest thing I do. It's not because I have a crystal ball or I'm smarter than anyone else. The Fed actually tells you. All you have to do is listen and believe them. Now, a lot of people don't listen, or they listen like, oh, the Fed will never do that. They will. They actually mean it. And Jay Powell is probably sick. He's given 6 speeches, either post-FOMC meeting press conferences or like the Brookings Institution speech at the end of November, Jackson Hole, August 26th. He keeps saying the same thing. He says, inflation is job one, period. We're not really worried about anything other than inflation, and we're not going to rest until we get it down to 2%. And he said, we're going to have a recession. He didn't use the R word, but you don't need a decoder ring to figure that out. He said unemployment is going to go up. And the Jackson Hole speech, he used the word pain like 5 times in one paragraph. I've been doing this for 45 years. I've never heard a Fed chairman use the word pain. He said, there's going to be a lot of pain. You're going to feel the pain. But the point is, he meant it. And they've been going down that path. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to get to something called the target rate. And you say, hey, Jim, what's the target rate? Well, I don't know what the number is, but neither does Jay Powell. Nobody knows what the number is. But the theory is the target rate is the rate at which rates are high enough that inflation comes down on its own without further rate hikes. That's the definition. So what's that number? And the Fed thinks it's 5.25. The market somehow thinks it's like 4.75, which we just got to, or maybe 5, but it's most likely 5.25, possibly higher, but I'll settle on 5.25. The Fed's not there yet. They're going to have to raise another 25 basis points in March 22nd. That's next FOMC, and again in early May. That those 2 additional 25 basis point rate hikes, in addition to what we've just seen, will get you to 5.25. And then from there, you go to the pause, and they use the word pause. And Powell's like, that could last a year. And maybe early mid 2024, we're looking at rate cuts. But we've got to get inflation under control. And it's not. I mean, inflation has come down a lot. If you it started dropping like a stone in July. Now I'm talking about CPI. The Fed uses, it can't be that simple with the Fed. They use PCE, personal consumption expenditure, core, meaning throw out food and fuel. Most people are like, what? That's what I spend most of my money on. But anyway, that's how the Fed does it. I always say if you want to understand the Fed, you can't use your mode. You have to put yourself in their minds, or you're just going to get it wrong. So PCE core comes out monthly, but they do a year-over-year comparison. That's what they want to make 2%. But just using CPI, which is better known, has come from round numbers again, 9, 8.7, 8.2, 7.5, 7.1, and now it's down, around 6 or high 6s. That's a lot. But you're still pretty far away from 2. So nice job so far, but you're not where you want to be. And the Fed said they're not going to rest until they get there. Now here's the Fed's, I hate to use the word conundrum, but sometimes it applies. Here's the Fed's conundrum. They're raising rates and inflation's coming down. That's clear. But what they don't know is are interest rates coming down because they're raising rates, or have they already hit the terminal rate and it's coming down on its own and they just don't know it? And that's a big deal, because if they're at the terminal rate and they just don't know it and they keep tightening, which they are, they are going to over tighten, probably already have, and this is going to be part of what throws the economy into severe recession. So that's kind of what the Fed's doing and how they think about it. Now, let's go to our next Irish storyteller. This is the market, and in particular, although here we had probably a distinction between the stock market and the bond market. The bond market's a lot smarter. But the stock market is saying, yeah, the Fed's raising rates, inflation is coming down, but we think they're already at the terminal rate. But not only that, we think they're going to get the memo that the Fed will figure that out before they get to 5.25, before they raise rates in May, maybe even March. Maybe they're done. And because of a recession, the Fed will get the wake-up call, pivot, the famous word pivot, meaning cut rates, and that will bring the economy in for a soft landing. So this is the soft landing Cinderella, or sorry, Goldilocks, wrong fairy tale. This is the soft landing Goldilocks scenario where the market's right, the Fed's wrong, but the Fed will realize that the market's actually right,